Evening, everyone. Welcome to this regularly scheduled meeting of the Sprangsbury Township Board of Supervisors. This time I'd ask that you stand, join me in the pledge of flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So that constitutes a quorum, even though two of the supervisors aren't. Speaking of which, Charter, does the fact that we've officially ended the COVID emergency change any of our meeting requirements?
Not for the second class townships. Under the second class township code, the supervisors need to be present, which means it could be through video conferencing. They don't have to be physically present. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open the floor for communications from citizens. If there's anyone from the public like to address the board, please step to the podium. State your name and address for the record. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Charlie Stewart, 3680 Traveling Road. I'm just here for one minor thing. I've noticed that some of the streetscape trees in our township are in dire need of attention. They're dying, and I did some research. I think I might know the reason. So this is a Penn State extension document. I'll let you distribute it accordingly. Maybe it might be useful. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Kim Zach. I live at 3686 Pleasant Valley Road. And I'm here this evening to ask the supervisor's permission for Kingsley Properties to install a lending library along the path between Century Woods and Springs Oaks. This was made personally by Tim Kinsley as a gift for me with the intention of going along that path. So I do have a small, I have photos of it if you'd like to see these. Kingsland Properties have committed to installing it free of charge, and they also are planning to do a plaque on it, which would be in minutes.
George, I sent this over. Kim had contacted me. Kim works with me both, and she had sent it to me. I sent it over to Mark, and like I said, he had no objections. It certainly seems like a way for us to honor both Tim Kinsley and the Kinsley family who have meant so much to the county community.
Can we consider that a motion?
It is a motion.
I'll second that motion. Don, any comments, questions?
I'm just not at all clear on if action is required, and
It is done because Kinsley deeded the property over to the township. So we now own the property that this would be installed on. So they need our permission to install it.
do we have any policies governing that?
But we've already approved numerous, well, not numerous, but several of these for Eagle Scout badges. Projects for Eagle Scouts. So it's this identical type of thing. It's a lending library on a post.
And who maintains it then?
I would be happy to do that.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
I'm just curious where exactly it was broken, because there is that gap. It's going to be in the pathway.
Well, what I was thinking is as you're walking to the path, it's like gravel and kind of off a little bit. I live right there.
Is this where we just purchased those two? Okay.
Well, it was donated to.
Okay, we're
Only
going.
because we don't own that.
Correct.
The gravel.
So this would be on.
Would be actually on the township side.
Oh, yes.
So I guess I'm not sure how we would go about,
Citing it,
yeah.
I'm sure our engineer.
Oh, finally, put a neck on it and it'll be
They
engineered.
can put a flag there and.
Yeah, and I have a contact person at Kinsley Properties that and Kinsley Tim's. Is a dear friend, so we're working on this together, and there's someone within Kinsley Properties that is working with us. And she said she's happy to reach out to whoever. Here.
Reach out.
Our house can say.
Okay, thank you.
You bet, yeah,
Okay, so-
thank you,
Thank you.
absolutely.
We haven't taken the vote.
Oh.
Motion a second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
You opposed? Passed unanimously.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else this evening to address the board? If there's anyone online, please use the raise your hand feature. Okay, moving along to our engineering reports, who's our going first?
Good evening, I have nothing to add to the report that was submitted.
John? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Capital engineering.
Mr. Acting, the only update I do have is I did provide the board and the manager with the schedule for Davies Drive. And there was an exchange of emails early late this afternoon. So East Penn Railroad will begin doing their signal work on the tracks on Monday. And I think you'll start to see a lot of development with Davies Drive. That's all I have at this point in time. I did report on our bidding process for the traffic signals and the message that I have to check references, and we're gonna probably talk about that.
John, if I can, what's the outside date for Davis Drive?
They were supposed to start verbally. They gave us a commitment like they're gonna start sometime in March. So here we are in April. We'll probably start very shortly. They show a finish of around August. And it's like substantially complete. They have, I guess in August. So we're probably around August. The end of August, I think it's super done.
Just want to see how much that moves in coming weeks.
There's no supply chain issue that, as far as I know.
Great. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Up is our consent agenda. Are there any items any board members you'd like to have for us from the consent?
For approval of the consent agenda, items A through L.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Carried unanimous. Bids, proposals, contracts. The 2023 State Field projects. Give us a update on that.
Yes, I'll give a brief update and then I'll turn it over to Denny Craig, will be dressed up for this evening. So he's down to come up here and but
Dress up with you.
this is budgeted in our Springersbury sewer capital. And what it is lining of our existing sanitary sewer lines on several of the streets in the Fayetteville neighborhood and the corresponding manholes. But then if you want to come up and I can give my normal report, I already did it for you. Questions?
I assume this was in our budget.
It is.
Not higher than that or close?
Slightly higher than that, so like 2 line items in.
Questions?
So what do you actually need? You need authorization to execute this agreement?
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very unanimous. Thank you. Danny, question. Sure. I saw an article that said that these linings are causing problems. I guess when they heat the line, I guess to seal it, that gases were.
This.
I'm not just curious, I never heard of that.
Use steam to cure it. We're not even using UV.
But are you aware? I mean, is that a problem that?
Early on, they put off a lot of it. I mean, it smelled a lot when they cured it. That was when they cured the steam and high heat. Now it's just like.
Okay. That's all. Just wondering. There. Subdivisions land development, we have in here for Harvey Davidson switch.
Yeah, I'll speak to this for a few moments to the board of supervisors, and I'll turn it over to Scarborough representing the project this evening. But this is a small building addition of 3,850 square feet building addition to the north of the existing manufacturing facility on this large campus here in the township. They're going to be providing a loading dock, provide additional storage space for the equipment, but only space for additional employees. Something small scale when you take into account the large campus, the large building space that we currently have at the Harley Davidson plant. But with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Mike Scarborough with New Tech Design Associates to explain a little bit more detail for the board of supervisors. And Mike.
Mike Scarborough, New Tech Design Associates. Randall said, I'm representing Harley Davidson. At their campus, they're proposing a 3,850 square foot building addition on the north end. It is to alleviate some of the area from the production area and also to free up some of the loading space. As he said, we're not increasing the employee count, so no increase in parking. We're not looking at any site improvements beyond the building and readjusting some sidewalks. We are asking for 13 waivers as part of this, which is substantial, but feel as though they're justified. I can go down through all the waivers if you would like that we are asking for. If not, get around ahead of time. But they pertain to landscaping, road widening, stormwater management. Some of them overlap, curb sidewalks, and we're not making any improvements to access drives that would drive any of the waivers or improvements that would drive the waivers. So would you like me to get down through all the waivers?
Not for my purpose, I did too.
And I'll just say Harley had done some major reconstruction out there, altering the entrance to gate number 5. They rebuilt a good part of Eden Road. A lot of the landscaping was contemplated at that point in time. And so when they brought the smaller addition in, rather than going back through that analysis and looking at the entire campus, it was addressed on pretty much on the previous land development plan. And rather than go through the evaluation and look at every little area, that they did get previous waivers for street widening, but the bulk of it to get in and out of their facility was dealt with in their big land development 10 years ago or so, 8 years ago.
Yes, and all the waivers, I should have all the waivers, but we do have notes on the plan, 6 months notes to cover in case something rises. But the road widening, as John said, we analyze that road. Don't really, at this point in time, don't want to improve the road on the north side up to along the property line. That street goes out to Paradise out there. It would make it inviting for through and stuff. It was at the time just for this size addition. we have addressed all the engineer's comments and addressed all the county comments. I don't believe there's any comments. Stormwater management, the pond was sizing and was small.
And the planning commission was okay with this and you looked at it, you're fine with it as.
That is correct. I think we should give a thorough look at it when we have the meeting, and obviously we talked about 13 weeks, which is larger number than we generally put forth to the board of supervisors, but as Mr. Luciani has stated, and I've stated in my plan summary, that they were accounted for basically in previous iterations of the campus.
Any questions?
Nope. I'd be happy to move for the approval of the 13 modifications waivers as presented.
Second,
Motion is second, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Carried unanimous.
Thank you.
And the second half of the
Plan,
reference to the land development plan LD 2023-0001. Preliminary final land development plan for Harley Davidson's 2023 expansion. I move the recommended approval as presented with the conditions of approval being addressed.
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Carried unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, communication with supervisors. Or have anything to see?
So I guess I have one thing. It was really a comment that came out of the manager's report, but I know we had the communication with Spring Garden Township about potentially expanding some trails and paths and things. And it's sort of evolved to the point where we bundled some other issues up in with that, which I think is not really a great strategy for us. So I think we should probably consider, I don't know exactly how we do this because manager's been in touch with them, but I think we should move forward with having a discussion with the chairman of Spring Garden Township and whoever else wanted to be involved there on the rail trail extension opportunities.
Fine with that. Thank you, Don. Solicitor's report.
I have nothing to add to my written report.
Charlie, I had one question in your report. You had in the second draft of the ordinance highlighted in yellow something, but there was a clause in there which labeled nuisances, which didn't make it into our ordinance. I was wondering why. Language is something to the effect of if beekeeping becomes a nuisance to the owner on either side of the property, yada, yada.
You're saying that was in the model ordinance?
It was in the one that had the highlighted new one. It was not the one we drafted, it was the, for the township, it was the other one.
Model.
Yeah, the model. And it didn't make, I think it was item 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably the reason why, maybe we can discuss this more in 27.
That's fine.
Those kind of clauses are problematic.
Okay.
Because then you have to, in fact, prove a nuisance.
Gotcha.
And that brings in a whole bunch of different evidentiary issues.
No problem. I saw it in there.
I'll take another look, just to make sure.
Yeah, I was curious about it.
You have to find ahead of time what a nuisance is.
Well, that's just part of the problem.
Sure. Without a definition.
I mean, by definition, the beehive. The nuisance just because it's there. The bees are flying around, right? So what makes it a nuisance, and then you have to get into all that criteria. It can complicate things.
Okay, managers report. Did that, Mark? or
I do not have anything to add to my written report.
Questions for Mark?
Nope.
Okay, ordinance and resolutions. We have a proposed resolution to adopt the 2023 work area regional emergency management emergency operations.
Mr. Chairman, this new version or updated version simply just updated the board of supervisors contact information and any other new facilities, important critical facilities within all three townships that Yelper serves.
So I understand that Manchester Township, Spring Garden have already approved this.
That is correct.
Any questions?
Issue authorization for the auditor to execute this agreement,
Thanks to adopt the
Yeah.
resolution.
just to adopt it. Approval of the resolution to adopt the emergency operations plan resolution number 2023-3.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carries unanimous. Anything under old business that anyone wants to discuss?
The only thing, if I could, Mr. Chairman, to mention is I did send letters out earlier this week to the residents and businesses in the 10th and 11th Avenue areas, Eberts Lane, Whiteford Road, about the neighborhood meeting we're going to hold next Tuesday at 6:30. They already, PennDOT already closed Eberts Lane Bridge, I believe yesterday. That one's probably not problematic for the neighborhood because it won't promote cut through traffic, but when Sherman Street closes, that's going to be problematic, so.
Moving on to new business, we have first item is the PSATs 2023 proposed resolutions. So if Charles were here, he'd probably explain exactly what it's really about.
I think with Charles, if the board doesn't have any oppositions to what PSATs is recommending, then he'll go with that. But if any board member wanted something to discuss something otherwise, you can let me know or let him know directly.
My understanding was he's opposed to number one, which is the agriculture exemption. Supports number two, which is asking funding by the state. Forget through, it wasn't.
And we're going to talk about the agricultural thing in the next, in item B, but it was, I think, the third one in the agricultural he supported. There was one he didn't and two he did. And you were correct, the one that he supported was to seek legislation that any and all MS4 mandated things are funded by the state, exempting farming from MS4. He was not in favor.
I've always trusted Charles's input when it comes to how he's going to do it. That's certainly.
I concur.
Do this.
So I will let him know that.
Any further discussion on that?
That was everything that him and I discussed.
The last item this evening is participation with the opioid sales. Something we do on this one.
Yes, the Teva, Allergen, CVS, Walmart, Walgreens are all in an opioid settlement that is a nationwide settlement. Pennsylvania, the state of Pennsylvania is a participant in those settlements. So since Pennsylvania is a part of the settlement, each subdivision of Pennsylvania has to sign the documents to have their share of Pennsylvania's allotment. So any municipality that does not sign, they will not be part of the pot of money that will be provided to Pennsylvania. And I talked a little further with this with the county, with York County. And a lot of the authorized uses of this money are for programs to help individuals that have a dependency on opioids. So I believe what's going to happen, and the county's better suited to operate those programs. So I believe what's going to happen is Springersbury, if we sign this, we will share our funds with the county. So the county puts the money to the appropriate uses. Some of the things that I see that we can use the money for would be for law enforcement training, firefighter training, dealing with opioids. But I typically don't like these type of things, but I do think it's a pot of money that will be going to the state anyways. So if we don't put our name in the ring, it'll be less coming here and more going somewhere else.
It's like we only have a few days left to execute this. This evening, we're looking for authorization for the manager to sign and submit participation documents.
Correct. And Charlie Roush reviewed the documents and didn't see any issues with the documents.
Are there any estimates of how large this settlement could be?
The number that was said to me, I don't know if this is the state number or if it's the county number. It was said to me it's the county's portion, which I find hard to believe. That it was in the tens of millions of dollars. And it's over a number of years. It's not a lump sum thing. It was so much this year, so much the following, and so on. So
Other questions? Ready to make a motion?
I move to authorize the manager to execute the documents.
Second,
Motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Very unanimous.
can I make a correction?
Go ahead.
I said that the meeting, that neighborhood meeting was next Tuesday. It's next Wednesday.
Where is that?
It's being held at the church on 11th Avenue.
Else for the good of the order this evening?
I just have a question on item C, the resolutions passed. Is that part of what you're talking about, right? Or the PSATs resolution?
Oh.
I didn't take that. How about I did?
Well, the PSATs resolution, that was more of a comment. I don't think we need a formal motion for that. It's just discussion.
Okay, so the discussion also included about the Columbia County Association of Supervisors. Got it, thank you.
Meeting adjourned.